guys, today we've got the brand new Losi 8ight RTR on the bench, and today we're going to take a deep dive into this thing, show you everything that's new about it, then take this thing out for a blast and see just how good it is. This car is based on the 8ight 2.0, but there is a lot unique about it, and we're going to take a close look at all that, starting with this new body. This thing is paintable, just like some of the Traxxas bodies are, so it's got some of the graphics already installed, and you just back that with your choice of paint, which is really nice for personalizing the car. The little front piece here is also paintable. And to go along with that, we get a whole bunch of pre-cut stickers to customize the body however you want. We'll be putting these on here in a little bit. Now, before we look at what's under the hood, I wanted to mention that this body is probably the thickest body I've ever seen on an RC car. It's about twice as thick as I'm used to seeing, and I don't think you'll ever have to reinforce this thing or probably ever have to replace it because it is an absolute beast of a body. Now, that being said, under the hood is where things get really interesting. Everything on this car is very similar to the 8xe kit, but there have been many changes that have been made to save money. And much of that money has gone straight into this brand new 4S censored ESC and motor from Spectrum. These are obviously going to be hobby wing parts. I'm really curious to see if this is waterproof internally and if this thing has been waterproofed as well. Once we get done taking this thing apart, we're going to be bashing it, and assuming it handles 4S, we're going to be pulling the 4S ESC out of here, putting a 6S ESC in, and seeing how it handles that. This is a 2200 kV censored motor, and to go along with that, we've got the 4S censored ESC. We've got the Spectrum S665 servo on here. This is the same servo that you're going to find on the latest Arma cars. That servo is connected to a locking adjustable servo saver that's easily adjustable from the top. We do have all metal threaded body adjustable shocks. These feel really good out of the box, but they do appear to be different from the ones that come in the kit. Another bit of a downgrade, and we see that same thing in the back. However, all the links are still fully adjustable. Those are all tying into some nice thick shock towers, but again, these shock towers are a downgrade from the ones that come in the kit. This chassis layout also appears to be identical to the one in the kit. You can see the slot right here for the Nitro starter box. However, the material appears to be a downgrade. This looks like it is stamped 6061, and the one in the kit is machined 7075. I'm really curious to see how this chassis holds up to some bashing, as it is pretty thick. This battery tray is really interesting. It's very long and wide, but not super tall. It looks like it's designed to hold two batteries end to end, but of course, we're not gonna be doing that. We'll be putting a single 4S battery in here, and then maybe a single 6S battery if it survives 4S. Now, one really nice thing about this car is that it's designed to retain parts compatibility with the kit, which means that pretty much any of the upgrades you can get for the kit will also fit on this, which is really nice. I'll pull one of these wheels off and take a look at the suspension. And we can see we've got nice serrated wheel nuts here. And these wheels are Losi branded, as well as the tires. The compound feels medium soft, probably good for casual track use and probably for bashing. Underneath here, we can see one of the other cost-saving measures. Instead of having machined knuckles, these appear to be cast aluminum. Hopefully these things are going to be strong because I've not really had good luck with cast aluminum in the past. Of course, you can always just upgrade these to the machined aluminum parts from the kit. And just like the kit, we can see we've got universals in the front, and these arms feel really, really beefy. Out back, we have what feels like a nice flexible wing on a fairly sturdy wing mount. I'll be curious to see if this wing mount is stronger than on the Arma buggies, as those do tend to be a bit of a weak point. Now let's see how easy it is to take out one of these differentials. Looks like we're gonna have to start by taking this center brace off. And whereas this is a plastic brace, it does feel pretty sturdy. Next, it looks like this wing's gonna need to come off, which gives us a closer look at this wing and wing mount. We can see the wing is nice and adjustable, and the wing mount feels pretty stout, though it is only attached with 4 screws, so I am curious to see if those end up getting ripped out and if this wing comes off during bashing. Now, it appears as though this bulkhead's only held together by 6 more screws. Let's see if we can take those out and then sneak this differential out without taking anything else apart. All right, that should lift up, and yeah, it looks like we're gonna be able to get this differential out of here. And we can see those rear dog bones. They don't appear very thick, but they are pretty high quality. Hopefully they'll be able to hold up to 6S power. And that's what it takes to get the rear differential out. Not too bad, but not quite as easy as on an Arma. We can see the pinion gear is supported by 2 ball bearings, and it is a machined gear. The ring gear also appears to be machined. And opening up this differential, we can see its design is definitely different from an Arma. And taking a look at these gears, they do appear to be sintered steel, but they seem to be made to a pretty high standard. Let's get this back together and take a closer look at those new electronics. I will say that this differential does feel nice and smooth right from the factory. Now, if you've been in this hobby for a while, you're probably going to be using power tools, which makes disassembly and assembly a lot easier. But if you're brand new to the game, Team Losi does give you a basic set of tools you can use to work on this car. They also include a pretty decent comprehensive manual for the vehicle. This top separating bulkhead actually has some advantages. It makes the diff easier to remove and install without having to take shocks or anything else off, and it gives you easier access to the differential pinion gear. Now let's see just how waterproof this thing's gonna be out of the box. This motor mount's actually held in with a screw on the top and the bottom. They do provide you with a hole in the side pod to loosen it, but for complete removal, I'm gonna go ahead and take this side pod off. That should make it a little bit easier. And here we have that Spectrum motor that's going to be made by Hobbywing. As you can see, it appears to have a standard sensor cable and the wires are soldered onto it. It looks like this can might actually be a little bit adjustable for timing, though that might just be for looks. Let's find out. Okay, these holes are slightly slotted, so you can adjust the timing on this a little bit. As you can see, this motor is 2200 kV, so it should be able to handle 6S without any trouble. Now, pulling this cover off, we can see we've got a little temperature sensor here, and whereas it almost looks like this is a gasket, it's not, so this motor is not going to be waterproof. However, the sensor board is conformally coated, so that should help with water resistance a little bit. We've got a pretty standard sensor setup here with the magnetic ring here, and a little bit of balancing weight added to the rotor. I do like that they extended out the temperature sensor, so it's actually getting the temperature of the windings, and not the temperature here at the back of the can. That should make the temperature sensing a bit more accurate. Now, putting this back together, I'm gonna go ahead and set it back at 0 timing, as I don't think that's something we need to mess with for bashing. Along with that mechanical timing, we've also got a lot of electronic options in the ESC, all the standard things you would expect from a regular ESC, and a bunch of other fine tuning on top of that. Even though this is a race ESC, I'm curious to see if they potted this board in here for waterproofing. Let's see if we can't sneak this cover off and find out. First of all, it looks like we've got a pretty standard fan here with a standard connector, which should make this easy to upgrade for better cooling. And then I'm not sure you're going to be able to see this, but sneaking in there with a flashlight, we can see that, yes, this is definitely a potted board. So even though this thing isn't claimed to be waterproof, it should at least be splash resistant. This receiver box is not going to be splash resistant, and the SR315 inside it is not waterproof. However, Horizon did include their upgraded DX3 transmitter with this, which is a really nice touch at this price point. All right, I'm going to get this all back together, then let's get some stickers on that body. We're given a lot of stickering options for this body. First thing we need to do is peel the coating off. Of course, you would normally want to do this after you paint the body, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave mine clear and put some stickers on it. These stickers are all pre-cut, which is really nice. Cutting stickers is kind of a pain. This one's designed to go on the side of the body. I think I'm gonna use the colored one. And we'll use some of these smaller stickers here and there. We've got some window stickers and some stickers for the wing. I'm gonna go ahead and do this off camera. Well, there we go, guys. She's all stickered up and I think she looks great, but looks don't mean anything. I wanna see how this thing performs. Let's go find out. All right, first thing, let's check the steering. That seems plenty fast and powerful enough. How's that low speed censored startup? Feels pretty smooth. Let's see how fast it is. Handles well. Full throttle. Feels reasonably quick. One more pass. All right, let's check it out. 42 miles an hour. That is actually pretty good for 4S straight out of the box, especially for a race car. It's 5 miles an hour faster than the last Team Co Rally I tested, and I think that's going to be just perfect for bashing. Speaking of which, let's check it out. Well guys, so far I'm really happy with this car. It handles very, very well, which it should because it's a race car. It jumps well, and overall is a pretty fun basher. So far I haven't broken anything, but I haven't tried too hard yet. That's about to change. We're gonna put a Castle Cobra 8 in there, some knobby tires, and run this thing on 6S, take it off the big ramp and see what it can really do. Now, if you like seeing me find the weak points in every new vehicle that comes out, make sure you get subscribed because we tend to break just about everything. This should be a pretty straightforward swap, the only wrinkle being that the wires are soldered to this ESC because it's a race ESC, so we're gonna have to put some ends on these wires. All right, out with the old and in with the weakness finder. Now we just need to address these tires. These stock tires actually feel pretty good. They've got a reasonable amount of grip and feel like they're good general purpose bashing tires, but I really like these knobbies, so we're gonna see how they do. If you're gonna be running just a single pack in this, I definitely recommend getting a block of foam to put behind the battery. Otherwise, it's really gonna be able to slide in this battery tray and might get damaged. Speaking of batteries, I'm gonna throw a 6S in this. We'll see you outside. Alright guys, we finally broke it, but I had to resort to actually trying to break it, which is pretty impressive. Let me show you what happened. Under the hood, everything's absolutely fine. The towers are perfectly straight. Everything in here looks really, really good. Nothing is bent. Rear tower looks nice too. Chassis itself looks almost perfect. I think there might be a little bit of a dip right here, but it's kind of hard to tell. Other than that though, it looks really, really nice. And what we ended up doing was spitting out one of these pins, but I'm honestly not even sure this is broken. This pin still looks like it's in fine shape. The arm itself isn't broken. It just pulled out of this D block. I think I could just put this together if I could find the dog bone, which unfortunately got sacrificed to the yard like so many dog bones before it. So what do I think about the Losi 8ight RTR? I think this is a really awesome buggy. Is it the best premium bashing buggy you can get? That's a tough one. This is in basically direct competition with the TLR Typhon, which is a really good buggy, but I think they're going to be serving two different purposes. The TLR Typhon is a basher buggy that you can kind of go racing with. This is a racing buggy that you can take bashing. This is on the same basic platform as the latest XE 2.0, and most, if not all of the parts from that XE 2.0 will fit on this, as well as upgrades for that. So you could buy this car, go bash it today, go bash it tomorrow, and then decide you want to go racing next weekend, and you've got an actual race buggy to take racing. It has plenty of power with the stock system for bashing, and I think it presents a pretty good value proposition. Is it expensive for a buggy? Yes. Do you get a lot for that money? It seems like it. This thing is tough, it's fun, it handles very, very well right out of the box. And like I said, this is a racing buggy, so if you want to go race it, you just take it out of the box and go racing. Let me know what you think, guys. Would you pick up one of these for bashing? Would you pick up one of these for racing? How about both? Let me know down in the comments. Get subscribed, then check out one of these.